everybody, I'm Vera Stewart and welcome to the VeryVera Show. You know, Easter is just around the corner and I'm today in our local fresh market store, and let me assure you, they are ready. So whether you're making all of your food, your family favorites from scratch, or you're running out of time and you need some help, the fresh market can really help you out. They have everything you need for ingredients as well as pre-prepared meals. So we're going to actually do 3 great recipes today. We're going to start with roasted Brussels sprouts gratin. You may even have the children eating this. And then if you ever wanted to do lamb chops, well, I've got a great recipe that has a mustard crust. I think you'll enjoy that as well. And then finally, a strawberry lemonade cake that just sings Easter bonnet. And in Vera's Corner today, we're going to do naturally dyed eggs. I think you'll love that one. All right, so I've got everything I need. I'm ready to get back to the cottage and get started. All right, so this first recipe today is one in my brand new cookbook, and it's roasted Brussels sprouts gratin. Brussels sprouts are one of my favorite vegetables, and I particularly love this dish because it introduces other ingredients and gives you a new way to serve a vegetable. It also might introduce a family member to the fact that they've been missing out on Brussels sprouts all these years. So I had one of the ingredients in this recipe is bacon, adds a little bit of smokiness, so that will be a really great way to introduce this to someone that's not had it before. All right, so I had a little bit that I had to do in advance. I started by trimming the ends off of the Brussels sprouts and then cutting them in half or in fourths depending on the size. Then I placed the Brussels sprouts on a sheet pan. I poured my olive oil over it and my minced garlic, salt and pepper, and then I just tossed that with my hands to get it good and coated. This went into a 400-degree oven. I actually used my roast feature for about 15 minutes. I also cooked my bacon over medium heat, and I love to just cut it up with scissors because it goes a lot faster that way. You want to get that done until it's nice and crispy. Remove it with a slotted spoon onto a plate with a paper towel just to get the excess drippings off. Then now, once the Brussels sprouts were finished, I just put them onto a cutting board and used my knife and chopped them up, not real fine, but fine enough that they will go on a fork easily. So then I also had to cook the carrots. So I put about halfway up in a saucepan my water, added salt, let it come to a boil, and then my chopped up carrots were in there for about 5 minutes until fork tender. All right, so remember I had the bacon dripping still in the pan, so now I'm getting ready to cook the other parts that go into this au gratin. So to the bacon drippings, I'm gonna add a tablespoon of butter, and then I've got some chopped shallots and freshly chopped garlic. And I'll turn this up to about a medium-high heat and let this cook for about a minute, stirring constantly so that your garlic will get a nice golden brown. So this is a nice golden brown. Now I'm gonna add my flour, and this is just gonna thicken this up. And once that's incorporated, I'm actually just gonna turn the heat off because I'm cooking with induction today on my Wolf induction cooktop. And when it's off, it's off. All right, so now I'm gonna add in my Brussels sprouts to this. And this will stir together really well, and we'll put the carrots in there too. And at this point, if you had somebody that, you know, couldn't eat dairy or anything like that, you could just spoon out a little bit of this for them. Let's add the carrots in. All right, then this is gonna go with the bacon. I mean, I know y'all are getting hungry because this is just a delicious dish. All right, so now I'm gonna add the freshly grated Parmesan from the fresh market and some salt and pepper. And then this is just gonna cook for a few minutes, and then we'll add the sauce to it. All right, so that's very well incorporated. So let me make the sauce that goes on top. So this is heavy cream, coarse ground mustard and red pepper flakes. So it's a little bit of a kick, but not too much. I'm just gonna whisk that together. And now I'm gonna bring my pan over and just start loading it up. And it looks like it's not gonna fit in there, but it will. All right, so just this last little bit. We're gonna push that down with the spoon. Now we're gonna pour the mixture over the top. And right before it goes in the oven at 350, we're gonna top it with some Parmesan and breadcrumbs. And when we come back from the break, we're gonna get started on the lamb chops. It's gonna be your new favorite entree. So come back in just a few minutes. Welcome back, everybody. And if you're just joining me, we're doing Easter with the Fresh Market. You know, they're our grocery sponsor, and they make things so easy, whether you want to start from scratch or whether you want to chime in on some of their pre-made dishes. So this particular dish for the lamb chops that has like a mustard, crunchy crust on the top is something we used quite a bit in the 90s at wedding receptions and cocktail parties. I'll speak to that a little bit more in presentation, but we actually used it as a past appetizer. So let me walk you through the steps. You're gonna need to order in advance these lamb chops because they're not always available. But if you let your butcher know a couple of weeks in advance, they can probably get those in for you. So you take them out of the wrapper, then you're gonna just lay them on a sheet pan, and you're gonna start with the back side first. That's when your Fresh Market Dijon mustard comes in handy. You're just gonna smear with a pastry brush all over the back and the front of your rack of lamb. Then you're gonna do a breadcrumb mixture. It's breadcrumbs, it's fresh rosemary, freshly chopped thyme, freshly chopped garlic, and you're gonna mix that together, and then you're gonna put that on top of the mustard and just press it down really well. These bake in a 400-degree oven for about 25 to 30 minutes, and I actually just took these out, so they are ready to go. So now we're gonna do a sauce that goes with it. If you have any drippings in the pan, you can actually add that to your beef broth, but I've got my beef broth on a medium-high heat. So now we're gonna let that come to a boil and reduce by about half. So I've got my induction cooktop, and honestly, when you put it on high, it's gonna start cooking just like that. All right, so this is definitely reduced in half very carefully. I'm gonna add my butter. Then I've got a whisk here. I'll turn the heat down just a little bit, and we're just gonna let that incorporate in there. And so what if you're not a lamb person and you're trying to plan this Easter feast for your family? Well, let me assure you that the Fresh Market's got your back, because they also have spiral cut hams that you can put a glaze on, and it's just absolutely fabulous. Beef tenderloin is also wonderful, you know, for Easter. So just keep that in mind. And in Vera's Corner today, we're gonna go over, since it is Easter, how about you get your older kids interested in dyeing eggs again, because we're gonna use natural ingredients to make the dyes. All right, so after that, we're gonna get started on the strawberry lemonade cake. And this sauce that I'm doing right here is gonna be served over these lamb chops at the end. So we will see you back in just a few minutes. Vera's Corner is brought to you by Tax Slayer. You know, Easter is right around the corner, and I'd love to give you an alternative that instead of buying an Easter egg dye kit, maybe use some natural ingredients. Let's review the natural ingredients you'll need to achieve different colors. Onion skins for a rust color, turmeric spice for yellow, beets for a purple color, red cabbage for a beautiful blue, and spinach for a light green color. Grab a medium saucepan, your natural ingredients, and white vinegar to begin the process. Bring 2 cups of water to a boil in the saucepan. Then add your coloring agent, only doing one color at a time. Reduce the heat and simmer for 30 minutes or longer for the deepest color. Strain the liquid into a heat-proof container and allow it to cool to room temperature about 2 to 3 hours. Use only an old towel to prevent staining. Stir in 2 tablespoons of white vinegar and add 2 to 3 boiled eggs depending on the size of your container. Seal the container and refrigerate overnight or until the desired color has been attained. Rinse your eggs and admire the color. Handle them carefully to keep the color from rubbing off. Try this fun and natural way to color eggs with your children and grandchildren this Easter. Start free today at taxslayer.com. Welcome back, everybody, and hopefully you enjoyed Vera's Corner. We've given you some great ideas of how to use natural fruits and vegetables to dye these eggs yourself. All right, so if you're looking for a great dessert to serve for Easter, I highly recommend our strawberry lemonade cake. This was our May cake of the month when we were in the mail order business, but it's really great for Easter as well. One of the things about it is that you actually have to make 2 recipes in the book to get this, the lemon layer cake recipe and the strawberry. So today I'm going to actually walk you through the steps of making the strawberry because there are some steps in there that I want you to specifically watch me do. All right, so the first step in doing this is that you want to prep 3 9-inch cake pans with parchment paper or wax paper, and then use your baking spray on the sides. You want to place your thawed strawberries in a food processor and pulse to puree that, and then measure a 1/2 cup to use for this recipe and put the rest in the freezer for the next time you make it. All right, the step that I want you to remember is back in the day, cake mixes were bigger and the box was bigger and there was more in the box. But nowadays, you have to actually buy 2 boxes of white cake mix to make this recipe. So go ahead and open both, put them in a bowl, and then what you'll do is measure out 4 cups evenly to go with it. And here again, you can wrap that very well, put it in the pantry for the next time you want to make this cake. Then you'll combine the cake mix and the Jell-O mix, and then add in the 1/2 cup of strawberry puree, eggs, oil, and mix that with the spatula until it's well blended. The next step is to add the milk to the Jell-O mixture and beat that vigorously for about 2 minutes, and I generally use my hand mixer. Once that's mixed together, then add in flour and mix just until this is smooth. At that point, you'll want to divide the batter evenly between the 3 prepared pans. And I like to just use my spatula, just kind of eyeball to make sure I've done that evenly. Tap the pans on the counter to ensure there are no air bubbles, and bake these at 325 for about 28 minutes. You're going to let them cool for 10, remove them from the pan, and then you also need to trim the top that kind of rounded just so you have a really nice 3-layer cake. And then you'll place those in the freezer, because that's another one of my tips, is that they ice more beautifully when you do that. So back in season 1, the lady that iced the cakes in our mail order company for years and years and years joined me on the show to teach all of you how to ice a cake. Well, the show wasn't even syndicated at that point. So I thought I would kind of refresh everybody today on how to crumb coat a layer cake. I always start with a cardboard cake circle. I put a dollop of icing on the top of the cake circle, and then my first layer is a strawberry layer I'll put down. I'm going to add a 1/2 cup to 3/4 cup of strawberry icing. I spread that evenly over the layer, making sure you get all the way to the edges and you have an even coat. The next layer is lemon, and it goes on top. I'll do the exact same thing again with a 1/2 to 3/4 cup of the strawberry icing and spread it over it. Then the last strawberry layer goes on top. The crumb coat is basically just what it says. It's to cover up all the crumbs and to get ready for the final coat. So this is just about a tablespoon of icing at once. You lightly go around the cake, the sides and the top, and then go back again to just make sure you've covered all of the cake up. So basically that's where I am at this point. And now this is going to go in the freezer, and in presentation today I will walk you through the steps of finishing this cake to be the VeryVera favorite. But if you are in a hurry and you don't have time to put something like this together, the Fresh Market is your go-to place. They're going to have the hot cross buns that are historically traditional during Easter, that have the icing cross on the top. They're aromatic, they're filled with citrus and plump raisins. They're really, really good. And then there are also buns. If you don't want to make bread from scratch, you can pick up buns, rolls there as well. And then they've got a couple of new desserts. They've got a lemon cheesecake that's delicious, and also a lemon and cream bar. So in presentation today, I'm going to take you back to my dining room to put everything together with some beautiful decor, and we'll show you how to finish this cake. Welcome back, everybody, and I am thrilled with the way that we are going to be presenting this Easter dinner today. We have had the best time getting all the food together, partnering with the Fresh Market on some of their amazing ideas and ways to present the food. And certainly for me, as a memory of my life, is setting the table with my grandmother for all the special occasions. And honestly, I hope that my grandchildren will also remember that, because they love to come over and help with this occasion. They helped me during the holidays, so it's just always a fun time to teach how to set it properly, but also to get creative in how it's done. So I want to kind of speak to the fact that we've got a gorgeous centerpiece today. It uses a lot of natural parts to it, like plants that can keep being watered so they'll stay green and fresh. And if you use some of the natural potted plants with your flowers, then you've got a way to pull the dead flowers out and still have a beautiful arrangement that you can use for later. So I love that. Love the place cards, the little flowers that hold the place cards together. And then for me, using my mother's china that has all of these gorgeous flowers in it is also quite a memory. So let's walk back through what we did today, because we made some amazing recipes and they're always available on our website at VeryVera.com. We started with the roasted Brussels sprouts gratin. This dish was made in a casserole dish, I'm sure you remember, but we got creative and we pulled it out with a spatula and put it into one of my mother's gorgeous footed vegetable bowls. So it just makes a gorgeous presentation. If you'll put a plate under it, then you can rest your spoon, and you can also protect your table by not having a hot bowl on top of the dining room table. Another way that you can utilize this recipe is if you have any left over, you can buy the little toast rounds at the Fresh Market. I buy them all the time. Put a little bit of that au gratin on top, a little bit more cheese, and run it under the broiler, and you've got a quick appetizer. I just love that idea. All right, the next dish we did was the lamb chops. And again, call that butcher and get yours reserved so you'll have them. But these just baked up beautifully. Honestly, the temperature is just right. You do want them to be a little bit on the medium rare side. If you like yours well done, you can cook them longer. But you know, if you're kind of in a rut about how to plate, go to Pinterest or Google and look for ideas about how to do it. We certainly think this turned out great today, with two chops that are intertwined at the top, and then you put your side dish in the center with, again, some more of the fresh rosemary, and then the extra, if anybody wants seconds, because this is family style, you've got them beautifully displayed on a platter. Just love that. All right, the last thing we did was the strawberry layer cake, and this is strawberry lemonade, and it just marries because you have to make a strawberry cake and a lemon cake. So I finished during the show today showing you how to crumb coat, but let me walk you through the finish process. We call this the Kitty Swirl, which was named exclusively for Kitty Hopkins, that taught everybody in the bakery how to finish a cake. And so once it's crumb coated and and it's really nice and cold. Remember, I sat it in the freezer for a few minutes. You're gonna take about a tablespoon of that and go up and down on the sides from the bottom up and do a swirl. And then on the top of this particular cake, we changed the icing for the flour to the strawberry icing, just so you've got that gorgeous flour on the top. And we've sliced it today and used crystallized lemons and strawberry fans to really dress it up. And we kind of really did a lot of Easter look on the tea cart that I've used to display it today. So just remember that Fresh Market can help you. If you don't have time to do what we did today, they have amazing side dishes that can accompany whatever you choose to do for your menu. They also have great desserts. They also have pre-made Easter baskets, candy. So you may think you have it all, but they're certainly going to remind you that you need a few more things. And I want to thank them so much for the opportunity to work together as partners and to give me ways to introduce you to things that can make your life easier. And as I always say on the Very Vera Show, no matter what you do it in good taste. And I hope you will come back next week. And certainly, happy Easter to you and your family.